Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. This is Richard Taylor, and I'm coming back with a short video concerning my decision to run for the Wayne County School Board District 3. And I made this announcement about 2 days ago. And in the midst of the announcement, I put a post on Facebook on my regular page, but also in the What's Up Goldsboro page. And under that post, there were a few comments asking me, what are my ideas about certain subjects and things of that nature. So I responded that the list was too long, but I will provide a video. And so this is that video answering a few of the questions that were presented to me. As well, I'm going to give you some insight onto why I am running. Why I'm running? Because District 3 is considered what most people would call inner city or, underserved or underprivileged communities in some aspects. A lot of those housing areas are in District 3. A lot of the children that I deal with in my community work and community service are from that area. So I realize the specific needs of those children, but I also realize that sometimes this district has been ignored, underserved, and almost written off. I remember a few years back, they were trying to or discussing closing Goldsboro High School, a high school that I went to, I might add, and I had a very, very good experience there, learning and developed me into the man I am today. And so, considering what has been going on, especially with my interaction with parents of the schools, students of the schools, I realized, within the past year or so, maybe 2 years, that there are a lot of issues that are not being addressed by the school board. A lot of issues, and that is my reason for wanting to get involved, is to challenge the status quo. And by challenge, I don't mean to oppose. Those are two different concepts. But I want to challenge. I want to open up the mindset, open up the ideas, the possibilities of making sure that every student receives a fair and equitable opportunity for an education. And there's a lot of issues that have surfaced, whether it's even just something basic as allowing transportation to get the children to school has been an issue. And so anything outside of that is irrelevant. Whatever you're doing in the schools is irrelevant if the children are not able to get to school. And so that is just one simple thing that I think that has to be on the forefront of agendas when we're talking about changing the perception, changing the progress of these schools. There's a lot of issues, and I would be lying, I would be dishonest, I would be disingenuous is if I'm saying that I have this magic wand that I can wave and everything would be all right. I know that is not, and I assume the people who are listening to this video would know that as well, that is not the case. I am just one man in one district. I would have to work with the other 5 members of the district, if elected, a school board, if elected, in order to bring these things to pass. And so my goal is to work collectively with these individuals to once again ensure that the school board and its policies are beneficial to not just the school board, but to each individual student. And, it is my intention to, really study the policy and the procedures of the school board, of the present school board, and what has been done, what is being done currently, and what could be done in the future to ensure, once again, that these policies just don't benefit the school system. These policies just don't benefit the operational processes of the school system. These policies do not just benefit the budget of the school system. These policies just don't benefit, as I've did one video about, these policies just don't benefit the board members or their family in securing contracts with schools. These policies need to reflect the benefit, the benevolence of the children. These policies should all be enacted, enforced, promoted to be in the best interest of each individual children. And as I've been to attend, a few board meetings, I see that a lot of the rhetoric, a lot of the verbiage is focused on how the school system as a whole is doing, or how the district as a whole, or how the numbers and the data are improving. But I know that these children are more than just statistics. They're more than just data. They're more than just a 0.5 increase in reading and math scores. And that was one of the things that struck me as odd. When I went to one meeting and they had many of the principals of the school and they were celebrating. Just to give you an example, I think one school had a 23.5% efficiency rating in reading and math, which means only 1 out of 4 students can read. And I think they said, well, we increased by 1.5%, and that was to be celebrated. That was to be awarded. And even if it increased by 1.5%, and this is just an example, I don't know if these figures are correct, but this is just an example of some of the things I've seen that were applauded, was even if 23.5% reading efficiency is improved, it's only improved by 1.5%. It's only a 25%. Once again, so basically still 1 out of every 5 children will be able to read. One out of every 4 children will be able to read an efficient level. So since when did we begin to celebrate mediocrity? When I was in school, if I brought home a D, a 72, and then the next semester, I said, look, Mom, I got a 74. I moved up 2 points. You're still not performing at the best of your capabilities, Richard, which I've never hardly brought home D's. But unless I just wasn't going to class, but that's a whole other different story. But these are the things that strike me as odd as we're celebrating these small incremental victories, which still we are failing the kids. Like I said, if a kid can barely read, then of course they can barely do math, because math is full of reading. The word products, word problems, as well as science, everything. History, everything involves reading. So if you're not proficient at reading, you're definitely not going to be proficient in any other subject. So those little things like that, those intricate dealings with parents, with children, explaining to me, their concerns is why I want to get in there and, express those concerns or put those concerns on the agenda. Because once again, I don't want to be that person, that elected official that comes up here and tell you, look, this is what I'm going to do. This is what I believe. This is my idea of doing this, which I can do that. I have several ideas, but my position as a public elected official or servant is to find out what the people want. What are the people's concerns? How do the people want these things done? And then in turn, I will use my influence and also my ideas to coincide with those things and then get what the people want. It's not about what Richard Taylor wants. It's about what those children and the parents want. And as I mentioned, a goal also is to get the community involved. Like the last meeting I went to, it was only me and Miss Sylvia Barnes, who is an elder stateswoman in the community and has been very active. But it was just us two. And they were just moving right along with agendas and budgets and, talking about this and ruling on that with no opposition or no one to challenge them. So when I have an influx of calls coming in on a month-to-month basis telling me about these issues with the school system, but yet and still there's nobody involved in those meetings, then what is the use of bringing those issues to the forefront if you're not going to be right up there in the forefront to confront those issues? So I'm not going to sit here once again and tell you that I understand every problem and I have every solution. Once again, that would be ludicrous, as my man Mike Tyson used to say. But I will once again begin to look at these policies and look at the policies that are only beneficial to the school systems or certain schools and detrimental to other schools, or if there's a inequity in those things, then I will want to address those things, regardless of who does not want to address them, if that makes sense. But I want to read a couple of comments of some concerns and very valid concerns of some citizens that just posted about yesterday on my initial announcement via Facebook that I'm going to be running for Board of Education District 3. And it's public, so I'll say her name. Denise Von Atkins. How you doing? I thank you for interacting as well. Where do you stand on the porn and filthy language in our elementary school libraries? Whoa, we can stop there. Now, I have not been informed of any porn or filthy language in our elementary school libraries, but that is a no-brainer question. Any book that exhibits any of those factors should be identified and removed. That's cut and clear. However, I'm and just thinking about this in church today, I recall when I had to read The Adventures of Tom Sawyer and Huckleberry Finn in elementary school. And mind you, that book was laced with filthy language and also racial slurs. So if I had to read that 30 plus years ago, then I can imagine what the children are exposed to now. And also, once again, let me address it that in another way. That is a societal issue as well. Of course, those books shouldn't be in the school, but that is just a reflection of society. Our society is filled with porn and filthy language. When you have cartoons cussing and cartoons displaying or promoting sexual innuendos or things of that nature. Kids are not stupid, or when every commercial, it's someone kissing or someone, in a sexual manner. So, or, once again, filthy language movies all across the United States are filled with those things. So that's just not, those things should not be in the elementary school classroom. But once again, I work with elementary school age children, and they are talking, they're talking about things that they've seen on a day-to-day basis. They're talking about sexual things. They're talking, they're using foul language because that is the culture that America has created. And so that is something that, definitely needs to be taken away out of the schools if they are. I have not had any experience with anybody or any parent or raising those concerns to me. So this is my first time hearing about that. But she goes on to say, this along with some very harsh questions will want to be addressed. Parents have a right to raise their kids the way they want, but they also have a right to be taught or not to be taught certain things in those public classrooms, in which I agree. Once again, there's people who will teach a child that you don't have to be a boy, you can be a girl, and the boy might say, well, I don't want to be a girl, and they say, well, it's all right to be a girl. See, Johnny over here wants to be a girl, and then the boy might look at Johnny, and Johnny's getting all of this attention, and then the boy will say, well, I'm not getting the attention wanting to be a boy, but everybody's giving Johnny the attention because Johnny wants to be a girl. Maybe I should want to be a girl and get those attentions. Now, none of that has anything to do with education. Having these discussion of a child being non-binary and asexual and, cisgen, whatever, all of those things have nothing to do with the development of a child's mind. It's basically confusing the child. None of that has anything to do with reading, writing, and arithmetic. So, and I don't know if that has been included in the education and curriculum here, but I know in some states it has. So, and even just having those general conversations in general from children who haven't even reached pubescent age is just overall confusion, and should not be in classroom. Just like this lady said, bring back cursive writing. They don't even teach cursive writing now, but they're having conversations about what you want to be when you grow up, a man or a girl. So those are things that need to and once again she says bring back English, bring back common math, not common, and most of all bring back God. And I definitely agree with her sentiments there. If we bring back God, and once again I don't know what the status quo is, but I remember we used to pray in school, and a lot of people would talk about God, and what have you. As we see, a lot of people feel to believe that since we've taken God out of the school system, there's been an influx of debauchery, school shootings, all of these things, failure. All of these things are issues that, once again, they're societal issues. They're not just school issues. We can talk about the erosion of the traditional family, where there was two parents in the household, now it's one or even none, where children are staying with people, grandmothers, aunties, foster care, where they're not really getting the care they need. So who's going to tell them to do their work? Who's going to motivate them and push them to do their work when, the mother's working 3 jobs and, just barely can put food on the table, and, she's not physically or mentally capable of, helping him with his math homework or helping her with a science project. Those are the things that, are societal issues, not just a school issue. So, once again, it's bigger than, what these questions are. But I thank you as well. One person said, as long as you push getting back to the 4 basics of math, English, science, and history, along with technology tossed in, that is what the schools needs now. Kids graduating don't have the skills to go on, which is true. I taught for 23 years up north in a vocational program. Last 4, I was teaching basic math and writing skills for my graphics program. Stay strong. The ones that don't agree with you will come after you. Good luck. Thank you, Dustin. And of course, that's to be said. But that is also true, because once again, I was at a school board meeting and they just proved almost a $500,000 grant for a week-long program in the summertime for about 200 students to do a STEM program, science, technology, engineering, and math program, which is great, right? But if the majority of the students can barely read, why not focus on making sure that they have the basic skills before you get them into engineering, technology, those things right there. So that looks good for the district and for publicity. Yeah, we have this STEM program this summer, but that's only for a select group of kids who probably don't. If children are operating in that capacity, they have the either social structure support or just the natural God-given intelligence to make good grades and understand the basics. But what about, once again, those special needs children? And I'm not talking about special needs as those children with mental or physical handicaps. I'm talking about special needs children that have parents in jail or witness their uncle get shot 2 days ago, or has that mother who has 5 other children and is barely home and they have to look after their siblings, or witness domestic violence. All those children, once again, that's a societal issue. But when you take those children and at their slightest mistake or their slightest mishap, you automatically send them to the alternative school, or you suspend them without getting to the root of the problem. Then you do that child a disservice. You also do the community a disservice, because eventually you're going to push that child out of the educational system, and then they're going to perpetuate that stereotype of their mother or their father, who may be in jail or on drugs, or involved in some things they might need to. So I remember a movie, and my dad used to watch this movie a lot, called Lean on Me. And it was about a real life principal, Joe Clark, who really looked beyond, the numbers, and really took interest in the student. One student, she was very good in school, and she was failing her grades. And Mr. Clark said, "What's wrong with you? You one of my best students." And the girl said, "My mama don't want me no more." And so Mr. Clark went to that home and found out that the mother was on drugs, but he got involved with the mother and helped build her up and helped her get her GED. And in turn, the child went back to her regular self. But those are the things that, those numbers don't represent. Those statistics that want to push children into alternative schools without really identifying the problem or the issue that each child is facing. It's more than a number. And so that's what I want to get, the public, and also, if I'm elected, the other members of the board, to see, like, this is not just, a cookie cutter strategy, or, something to just fill up sheets and make data look good. And so, that's the answer to that comment or question. Another one: what can you help get done about the bus driver shortages? Once again, we have to be better with our finances. Instead of doing that, once again, that $500,000 week-long STEM program, let's take that $500,000 and add another $2,000 to the bus driver salary, or fix those broken buses. And once again, people talk about the possibility of other jobs where you get paid a lot more for having a CDL than driving a bus. Once again, I think they said, and I don't know when this was, but yeah, I think I do remember when high school students were driving buses, and I don't think, correct me if I'm wrong, that they did have to have a CDL. But it makes sense if you can drive, if you have a CDL and you have an opportunity to drive buses for $17 an hour, or you can drive, a city dump truck for $32 an hour. I mean that's a no-brainer. Or whatever, you can go over the road and make, $6,000 or $7,000 a week. What do we expect them to do? So there has to be some kind of creative incentives, or once again, knock the requirements down. You don't need a CDL. You need, a Class B or whatever. Whatever. Once again, I'm not going to sit here and portray that I have all the answers, but I know that is one of my most pressing issues, is getting the students to school. That's it. Getting the students to school. And David Blake asks, as a candidate, what are some of your ideas to ensure quality education for everyone? He mentioned vouchers. Now, I don't know what you meant by vouchers, Mr. Blake. If you watch this video, please explain. And also loosening district guidelines. Once again, that sounds like something that may fix a problem, but whether you loose the district guidelines or not, the problem still exists in the overall structure and operational processes of the school system and the policies thereof. So we can loosen the district guidelines all you want. If the school board is not intentional in making sure, once again, every child, whether they're in, the West Haven projects, or whether they're in Walnut Creek, has the resources, the tools, the peers, the tutoring, the teacher support, all of those things, the transportation. You can loosen the guidelines all we want, but and if the school board is not intentional to make sure, once again, that all schools and students receive the proper attention, then it does not matter how much we change the guidelines. So there's once again a myriad of solutions, and once again, my position is, what do the people think would work? What are your suggestions? Because there's something called a mastermind. A mastermind is when all minds come together. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you that Richard Taylor has all the answers. I would be, once again, that would be disingenuous for me. But I definitely thank you for even bringing that to mind, because this is what it's about: allowing the people to have a voice. The slogan of my company, Taylor House Publishing, is bringing the voice of the voiceless into the minds of the masses. And as I see through these meetings that I go to, a lot of people don't think they have a voice, because if so, they would be at those meetings expressing their voice. Kimmy Kim, I want to tag you into this as well. She said, "Were you able to see the video?" Where will we be able to see this video? It'll be on YouTube and also on my Facebook. Have you set up a campaign page on Facebook? No, and I want to let everybody know there will be no campaign page, because what I found out about campaign pages is you have to invite people to them and they have to like it. By the time you do that, the campaign is over. It was one particular candidate who had a campaign page, and I didn't know about it until she reached out to me to have an interview for her. So all of my information will be on the regular page. And then the lady Kimmy Kim said, "Wait, I know you on YouTube. I get the Wayne County Sheriff Office info from you." And that's that's understandable. And she said, "Perfect. Look forward to hearing more." And David Blake responded, "I think you may have a biased opinion in this election." She said, "Hi, David. What makes you say that?" He didn't answer. And that's what I was telling someone as well, because I have been very critical of the school board, as well as, the police, the educational system, and many different other things. So I know that, there are certain people who I've already rubbed the wrong way. So no matter how many signs I get, no matter how many ideas that I've made, no matter how many good questions that I answer, they're not going to vote for me just because of that reason. I've rubbed them the wrong way. However, on the opposite spectrum, there are also people who know what I stand for, who see me out in the community and know my heart for children, and just the overall betterment of the community. And so they're going to vote for me no matter what I say, or no matter what I don't answer right, or no matter what idea I don't have. They're going to vote for me because they know I stand on, principles, ethics, and morals. And most of all, I stand on, what is better for these children. So with that being said, you may not see a lot of signs. You ain't going to see a lot of door hangers. You ain't going to see me, you're going to see me out there talking with the people and making sure the people get to the polls. But as I was telling somebody, people spent thousands and thousands of dollars on that election, and then only for the mayoral vote, only 4,000 people voted out of a possible 20 or 25,000 people. So it would be insane to spend all that money when you're only going to have a certain amount of people going to vote anyway. So the best thing is to try to reach those voters where they at, because most people, and even I was talking to my brother, when you get those door knockers on your door, those door hangers, first thing you do when you go in the house, you take them off, you throw them away. Let's be honest, you get those flyers, you put them in your car. I don't know how many flyers I got from the last campaign when I was meeting people, they hand me their flyers and, their little cutout cards. Yeah, all that's well and good. That doesn't win the election for you. Your name, your work should speak for itself. In a town as Goldsboro, as small as 20,000 people, if people know, once you hear, okay, this person is running, this person is running, this person is running, they know they're going to vote for maybe personal allegiances, or maybe somebody will be on the fence, so they may need to see or hear more. But just an example. Once again, one of my one of the people I know just yesterday or a few weeks ago or a week ago, they were picked up by federal, just like Mike Cox. They were picked up by federal authorities. There was no news post. There was no Facebook post about it. There was no nothing. But when in a day, everybody I talked to had heard about it, and so that's the well, not everybody, but everybody who may have been in that know. That is the extent of being able to reach people in Goldsboro. If you tell the right person one thing, and I made the announcement, and I began receiving phone calls from other people. Um, so people know, what I'm saying, and Richard Taylor, looking forward to at base level. Would you say you support either of those ideas? Yeah, at base level. That's what I'm saying. At base level, yeah, all of those ideas are good, but what it takes a lot more than just those things. It takes a collective. It takes a collective effort to ensure that every child gets a fair shake, and that's when, once again, the district I'm in is District 3. So I know the challenges that face this district from a procedural standpoint, but also from a personal child-like standpoint. So I will not once again say that I have all the answers, but my intentions is to get into the position, learn about the policies, learn about how the board has been working, learn about what the board has been doing well, because it's not all negative, and also learn what the board has not been doing as well, and then see if we can, bring those issues up to speed. But most importantly, my desire is to give the people a voice. Okay, well, what do you want? What do you want as a parent? What do you want as a student? What do you want as a teacher? What do you want as a principal? What do you want as an administrator? What do you want as a coach? What do you want to see change? And that is my stance on this. I have a lot of ideas, and I can sound good, but most people who are elected officials know that they are only one person, and when they get into the position, they have to work with others who may not agree to their ideas. So I'm not going to make you a bunch of empty promises. But what I will promise you is I will keep the best interests of the children at hand, not the school board, not the district, not the budget, not the policies, the children, the children. But peace and blessings. If y'all want, to know more, my number is 919-587-7782. If you do want to donate, you can call that number. I'll set up a PO box within the week, so if you can send your donations. Anything over $50 has to be in the form of check, cashier's check, or money order. So that's therefore why there will be no, as my usual fundraisers go, any Cash App donations. There will be none of those. But nevertheless, I don't intend, to run a very expensive campaign, because once again, I have two, and I won't call them opponents, but I will call them running mates, two associates, because they're not my opponents, because they have the same goal that I have. Hopefully, is to work for the children, to work and to obtain those positions to better the school system. So I can't call anyone like that my opponent. However, there is a primary that starts in about 3 months. People telling me, yeah, I got to get this, I got to get that, you got to get these, you got to get. Not really. If the if the primary goes as planned, and I am able to get the necessary amount of support to make it to the main election, I'll call it, or whatever, then that's when I guess more expenses, I guess, will be needed. But I'm doing this with the purest of heart and purest of intention. So I if like I said, I'm throwing in the hat. I'm throwing my name in the hat, and hopefully most enough people will pick my name out of that hat, just off of the strength of who I am and what I stand for. But yeah, there's going to be more to come. And if you have any questions, you can put them in the comments. And I welcome all questions. I welcome the hard questions because I've never been one to shy away from anything. And if I don't know, best believe you're gonna know I don't know, but also you're gonna know I'm gonna be about to find out. But peace and blessings, man. Y'all have a blessed Sunday. Peace and blessings. Thank y'all for listening.